Jaggi Vasudev, or better known as Sadhguru, is a spiritual leader who has started many yoga programs around the world to help in social outreach, education, and environmental initiatives. But he has made some very controversial claims in a recent video that is causing a ruckus in the vegan community. In this video, he claims the following. Eating plants, animals, or fruits are all equally cruel practices. Plants feel pain because they are able to produce stimuli to let other plants know they are being eaten and tell neighboring plants to produce poison to avoid being eaten. Eat what is necessary for nourishing our bodies and be conscious of what makes you feel good rather than making food our identity. There are so many things wrong with these statements, and it worries me that a guy with so much power and influence, and someone that I used to look up to, can just blatantly say this. He himself doesn't actually eat meat, but basically gave all of his followers an excuse to do so. So let's look at all of these statements and examine why they are actually false. It is definitely cruel to eat animals. They bleed and scream in horror just like we do if we were being eaten. But it is not cruel to plants because they actually want you to eat them. Yes, you heard that right. Fruiting plants and us fruit-eating animals have a mutualistic relationship where each benefits from the other. We obviously need them for nourishment, and plants need us to spread their seeds to colonize new territory or avoid the dangers of staying at home. Even if someone were to prove that an apple somehow feels pain, keep in mind that it takes 10.6 pounds of plant feed to produce 1 pound of meat. So when you eat meat or dairy, not only are you causing suffering to the animal that was exploited and raped and slaughtered for that product, but you are causing tenfold more plants to suffer, which means you are being overall more cruel to plants by consuming meat and dairy products. Next point, plants do not have a nervous system or nerves or a nerve net to feel anything, but yes, they do send chemical signals when a fruit or leaf has been cut to let their bodies know that it needs to grow back, which way to grow, when to produce poison, and when to blossom. But feeling pain and sending these signals are two vastly different things. Just like when you get a haircut, your hair grows back. It doesn't die, nor does it feel pain when it's being butchered by your razors. It sends a bunch of signals to your brain, letting it know that something is going down and now it needs to grow your hair a bit thicker to avoid being cut again, right? And as far as poisons in leaves, research shows that poisons are often used to discourage seed destroyers. So plants face a trade-off between deterring assailants and attracting the animals that safely disperse their seeds. Interestingly enough, all fruits and vegetables that you eat all actually have substantial amounts of poison in them, and it can kill other animals. But it just doesn't kill you because you can safely excrete out their seeds. That is why when you take a you can see seeds perfectly intact in there. So these plants favor you to eat them and thus design poisons that only deter the animals that cannot disperse their seeds. In other words, these poisons are evolved mechanisms to select what animals can eat them and how much of their leaves can be eaten safely enough for them to grow back on time. Moving on, I noticed Sadhguru's website claims that some animal secretions like ghee are recommended foods, but clearly states that we should not make food our identity and rather eat consciously. Firstly, a yogic diet that consumes highly positive pranic foods and avoids highly negative pranic foods sounds like a total food identity to me. Furthermore, I would argue that we are physiologically designed to be plant eaters, specifically frugivores, so the rules of nature already designed our bodies to eat plants and not animals and their secretions like ghee. So in a sense, we scientifically do have a food identity. This is actually why something like ghee can cause us harm in the long run. Though many people think ghee is good for you, Dr. Wahida Karmali from Columbia University claims that ghee contains extremely high amounts of saturated fats, which can easily raise levels of LDL cholesterol in your blood. High levels of LDL cholesterol can lead to blockages in arteries that can cause heart attacks and strokes. A small tablespoon won't kill you, but why recommend it in the first place when there are hundreds of healthier and cheaper alternatives? Dr. Walter Willett from Harvard states there are much better options when it comes to choosing fats. Go for foods that are good sources of monounsaturated fats like avocados and olive oil, and polyunsaturated fats like soybean oil and corn oil instead. These fats not only lower bad cholesterol, but they reduce the formation of blood clots, ease inflammation, and boost good cholesterol. Ghee is really not supposed to be consumed by the human body. Ghee comes from the milk of a cow, and cow's milk is designed for baby cows, just like human milk is designed for humans. Who would have thought, right? So, in conclusion, Sadhguru has made an impact on the world, so we must give credit where credit is due, but in his own words, if you don't know what you're talking about, the best thing is to shut up. He talks in a playful and cheerful attitude, creating a cognitive bias to get information across, but it can be very misinforming and thus very dangerous. It almost sounds like Sadhguru was trying to dodge the question of if eating non-vegetarian food is ethically wrong to avoid losing his meat-eating followers and give feel-good advice on how we must eat whatever we have to eat to the extent that it is necessary given the moment. This is obviously a subjective excuse that can be used to justify eating virtually any food given a moment. Listen, not everyone wants to hear this, but this is the truth. All vitamins and nutrients can be obtained from healthier plant-based alternatives. Therefore, it is never necessary to eat any sort of animal products. It is never necessary to pay an industry to rape and kidnap, exploit, and slaughter animals that are not willing participants in these animal concentration camps. This is what your dollar pays for when you buy ghee or any such animal products. Yes, veganism is an identity, but veganism is not just a diet, it is a revolution. It is an awakening aimed to reduce the environmental pollution, optimize our health, and just reduce unnecessary suffering on this planet. I don't think you should think about what foods consciously makes you feel good, because one can argue cherry cola makes them feel good and gives their body energy, while eating something like broccoli makes them feel lethargic. And believe me, I've actually met people like this. So the point is, a truly conscious eater can see how their food choices affect their bodies on a physical and mental level, as well as how they impact the entire planet as a whole on an economic level. Now the question is, are you following your primitive cravings, or are you following a truly conscious diet? Anyways, that is all I have for you today, so be sure to let me know your answers in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time, my friends. Chaos out.